welcome to this very serious topic. For those of you who are seeking healing, who know of how troubled that you're feeling, this is the crucial topic. Forgiveness is the source of all healing, no matter what kind. I'm Dr. Bob Weltman of the Christian Laity Foundation, which was required by God, was founded by God and required by God to teach healing in order that God's followers could release themselves from the hold of the savage human mind and recover the holy, loving character of their divine soul, and thereby be willing to bring the kingdom of heaven into this world so that people can see it and wish to return to that kingdom of heaven. That's our job. All of us eventually ought to do this job. Why? That's what verse number 803 of the Footladder of Notes Divine is all about. The Footladder of Notes Divine, found on the website, ChristianLaityFoundation.org, and is a curriculum of healing dictated to me by God over a period of some 13 years and still keeps going to this very day. God begins the discussion of this by saying that the topic of world divide is virulent, spreads. It is virulent, and it descends on the truth of what real worth is all about. That if you feel yourself divided from others, if you feel yourself not a part of God, if you feel inside yourself that you can't come together with who you are into a virulent, virulent, a virulent disease that's being caused by the fact that you don't feel one with yourself or with others or with God. God states, you must see through this. You must see that you have walked into a land which is apart from your kingdom home. Only when you're ready to see this can the healing begin. The healing beginning in the issue of using forgiveness. He states when you're in this world, you're held in a vice of corrupt cohesion. You're cohesed in a vice of corruption, which he compares with succumbing to hellfires. That's how bad our life is in this world. Heavy stuff, virulent. We are struggling with hellfire in this world, and we're fighting with a malaise, the tiredness, exhaustion, can't have energy, don't know what to do with it. We're fighting with forms of malaise, stupendous, enormous, what we have walked into in this world, and for which we need healing. What proof of it? God says, take a look. Have you seen yourself with overt signs of disdain for yourself, depression, or others, scorning them, displeasing with them, wanting not to be around them, looking at them as something lower than yourself, or just plain unpleasing and obnoxious? Are you seeing this? Is this your judgment of other people? Are you thinking even that maybe you look obnoxious to other people? And so not only do you get down on yourself, but you think others are down on you, and you even think that God is down on you? Do you see this? This is the world that we're in, of our human mind and what it has created. Tell me, God says you're litigious, argumentative, want to sue others, want to attack, don't want to negotiate, attack. Litigious is another word that God uses about you. And it makes you feel what God says, amorphous. You have no shape. You have no cohesion about yourself. You're amorphous when you quarrel with your neighbors who, like yourself, are of divine origin. You've lost your shape. When you don't see others in the shape of God, that's a reflection of the fact you don't see yourself in the shape of God, and you don't see God in the shape of God. Everything becomes amorphous. Nothing to plant your feet on. And this has to be healed by God. You can't heal it for nothing. Can you heal this? It's not possible. I'm a doctor of psychology. I thought that the answers to this lay in psychology. It does not. It lays in spirituality. We have lost the awareness of our true identity, and we can't get it back because the mind that makes us lose it hasn't got the slightest idea, that human mind, of how to get it back. It only knows how to make you miserable, doesn't know how to get you back. More of this. God states that with all of this explanation of what you're feeling, he says that you're insouciant. insouciant. Insouciant be thy way in the mortal frame. Insouciant, unbothered, indifferent. We don't even know how to care about this. We're unbothered and indifferent. So what? Hey man, you got to survive in this world. You got to knock somebody off, have a war. Hey, they're going to try to get you before you can get them. So what? Look at the world. Yeah, so there are people, the kids don't get enough to eat and they got to go to school. Well, at least they're getting one meal in school so they can miss the other two. Uncaring about how to care for our oneness, our brothers and sisters of the kingdom of heaven, these divine beings which we are one. We're indifferent because we can't feel it. It's not known to us. We can't feel it. Too painful. And the mind that created these things just keeps going with it to protect you. Protect you. Hey man, don't think about that. Hey, it's too bad those kids can't eat, but you're eating. And if we give them more food, it takes food away from you. What you give away makes you come up short. Not what you give away helps you to plenty. Or what you give away, God knows how to provide to you, because God is the one who provides for those who serve him. And God knows how to be able to put food on your table and what to do with his servants, so that what you give away is from God, and God replaces it and gives you a plenty in order to be able to give this away to others who God is trying to reach through you by your being willing to be a servant. God knows how to handle this stuff. God knows how to clear your mind of being down on itself. You can't do it. It's not possible. Nor can the healing sciences do it, because you're down on yourself from being unaware of your divine self, and the healing sciences don't go there. That's the reason that you're down on yourself, because you can't place your feet on ground that's solid. Everything is amorphous. You can't feel your divine self, and so you can't get there. What you don't know, you can't go for. But God knows it, and God knows how to get you there. And the issue becomes with this, the issue of forgiveness. You can't forgive yourself. God states that forgiveness is a blossom, that it dehydrates, it takes the stuffing out of all of these miseries that we're in from this human mind. That forgiveness is the fount which enables you to rededicate yourself to your placement with God in this world. Forgiveness. Well, now, how are we going to do it? Where does it start with? Let's start with yourself. Has to start there. You're down on yourself. And to any extent that you're down on yourself, you need to be able to get this healed, because everything awaits that. So you're down on yourself. You have made an issue out of harshness towards yourself. You're depressed. You're down. Maybe you feel, I'm a failure, or I'm unworthy, or nobody loves me, or it's been a broken affair. Whatever it is, you have decided, I am unworthy. What's the use? It's an error. Your unworthiness is based on your judgment of yourself, and you can't judge yourself. You have to turn to God in order to get an answer about forgiving yourself. Lord, I don't know how to forgive myself. You heard this Dr. Weltman here. He's telling me I've got to forgive myself. I don't know how to do it. Good prayer. Good prayer. Because you turned to God. You were willing to turn to God. That's all that God needs from you. That little bit of willingness to turn to Him. Lord, I can't stand myself. I'm so depressed. I thought of suicide. I just want to die. I don't think there's any answers to it. It's a horrible life that I'm living. I'm desperate. And is there anybody there who cares about me? Help anybody. You don't feel it. Desperate feelings come in order to make you want to turn on yourself, because you feel it's all true. You're just lousy. How can God's child be lousy? It's only that you have lost track of the fact that you're God's child. And so now you can call yourself lousy because you don't have your true self-definition for the reason that God created you as His beloved child, to have a ball in the world of the kingdom of heaven as an eternal soul, dancing, singing, filled with love, with joy, with all of God's children. You've lost awareness of it, but that's the truth of it. And it is recoverable if you have finally gotten to the point that you're fed up with the way you're feeling, and maybe you only just have a hope, a desire to be able to get something. That's enough for God. That's enough for God. Maybe there's a little bit of faith that you have some kind of belief, but it's being shaken. It's enough for God, for you to turn to God and be able to begin praying it. God needs to provide you also with a support group. I have my support group as I change from the tenets of psychology into the tenets of spirituality. I had my support group so that when my head played with me, I was able, at these times when my head says, what are you doing, what are you doing, that there were people who helped me to see your head's playing with you, and I could catch it. Even Jesus had a support group that his mother had to help him know that his head was playing with him. He was at a wedding in Cana, and he's supposed to begin his ministry, and he denies it. His head was playing with him. He's supposed to turn water into wine, and it was his mother who poked him and ignored him and said, waiter, put those casks of water in front of him and do what he tells you. His support group, that he knew his mother had faith in his ability now to begin his ministry. You need the same as Jesus needed. You need the same in order to be able to get going. And you will be provided with it. I meet with people all the time. And when I'm meeting with people, even going to others' healing group, I'm getting my healing from dealing with the issues that come up in the group and watching how I deal with them. Now, I want to reassure you that God has already planned out your support. It's there. It was with me. When I broke away from my human services field and added the spirituality to it, there were people there who were assistants to me in learning prayer life, in being able to support the direction that I was going. It was there, and it is there for you as well. Now, one of the issues that comes up with forgiveness, because I want to back up to God for a moment, is that it can be kind of scary to be able to go to God and realizing that you've been attacking God or blaming Him for what's wrong with you, or blaming Him for, how can you be a loving God? How could you let all those people die in a tsunami or an earthquake? If you're such a loving God, how come you permit war? Why don't you stop it dead, etc.? You're attacking God. You're making judgments about God. You didn't ask God to look at this and to find answers. They're an attack on God. And so you need to be able to find out as to whether or not God is forgivable too. And so when you say these questions and you're talking to other people, turn to God with this and say, Lord, how can I understand what's going on in this world? How can I understand why a tsunami exists, or why people die? Or why is it that this relative of mine died who was so lovable, and then there are all kinds of mean people who don't die so quick, and this one died so young? All of these things we blame God for as though He's the cause of it. Instead of asking, are you cause of this? Is this something that you are doing? Is there another way of looking at this? Do you think that you can get to the point of feeling safe to ask God these questions? I can only assure you you're absolutely safe in it, and that God is not exasperated with you, that you would have that twisted kind of logic, because that's the human mind. And so I encourage you to go ahead and ask it, just like I encourage you to find the support group, because the support group would say, yes, let's go ask that by all means and find out what the answers are for this, because you must find out that God is a loving God in order to forgive yourself, in order to forgive God, and with others as well. When you're down on others, you're making the conclusion that they deserve your unforgiveness. How do you know what's causing the other person's issues? And if you don't know, and you're unwilling to face that you don't know, this just continues. And the relationships are poor from your side. It's not important what other people feel about you. If you're down on yourself, you don't know how to handle it. But if you have received a healing, the understanding that, yes, I was just simply lost. That's all that forgiveness is. I was just lost. And I did these things because I didn't know how to do it any other way. I made errors. I made mistakes. I need to be able to handle it different. And now I understand better how to handle it differently. If you get to this point, you now are also ready to see that everybody else is lost just like yourself. Everybody else is lost just like yourself. That this is indeed a world of lost minds, of lost people. And only God can help you to see it. The final aspect is the reason forgiveness is so necessary in healing is because the kingdom of heaven is based on our love of each other. And if you're afraid of others, or down on others, or down on God, you are unwilling to be able to return to the kingdom of heaven and to the life of love and peace and joy, which is the essence of why forgiveness needs to be practiced. To recover the awareness of a loving you, a loving God, and loving others, at which now there's no longer any kind of fear, and you're willing to let go of this imagined world of human waste, of human virulence. You're willing to let go and say to God, go ahead and do with me as you see fit. And God now uses you to help you bring healing to others in this chain of healing, while at the same time enabling you to want to be returning to the kingdom of heaven, where your one and only true life exists, where you are with your one and only true God of love, and your true self-being of love, and that of others. It is so precious, forgiveness. It heals. It lets you let go of all the thoughts that sicken you. It lets you go through any physical sickness with peace, knowing that all of this is imagined, and it lets you turn to God to be able to return to you the feeling of love and the support that helps you to want to go home, which is the ultimate, ultimate reality, the kingdom of heaven, of love and peace and joy and richness and song and dance. I hope this is helpful to you.